Oh, there we go. Are we actually live or is it not
You
live?
should be.
Japanese, there we go.
You got it?
I am Japanese.
If you
What's the?
please. But Siamese, actually.
No, is it Siamese? There we go.
Yeah, it's the Mikado.
Is it? I thought. Oh, I can just hear myself and I can't stop this. I love a bit of.
I do
It's a
not
bit of
want to
Mikado.
join YouTube family or YouTube Premium.
Yeah, you will soon. Get used to it.
Well, I did I was eligible for a 3-month free trial, and after a month and a half, I cancelled it because it was just pointless.
Yeah, but when William grows up in a year's time, you'll have every fecking YouTube subscription you can think of.
No, not gonna have YouTube.
Yeah, no, it won't happen. I said that. Won't have YouTube. You have
Nah,
YouTube.
not YouTube.
YouTube Kids. That's what
That's
you'll
where
have.
that's where I draw the line.
No, I drew the line. I was the
YouTube
grumpy
Kids, I can probably get on board with. Why
Yeah.
won't my screen
Oh yeah.
change? Right, there we go. Hello. Oh God, we've got 3 comments already. Hello, Jared. Yes, we're not at work because, well, I'm on paternity leave.
And I am off to America next Saturday. So I am in my little bit of downtime and prepping. Tom is showing a very legal document that probably shouldn't be seen, but
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's for the
We'll blur
just
it out
registered
in
the birth
post.
of my son. So
So yeah, we neither of us are working. Although I do have a budget to do and some other work stuff to do, and paperwork and an application to fill in that has to be in by tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But podcast.
I'm still a man of leisure. I've still got nothing to do. I've got brunch tomorrow with a couple of other
I got
families.
brunch.
And that's it really for me. So let's save this for the podcast because we run out of stuff to say anyway. Right, should we just start?
Yes.
I really need to burp. Hopefully I'll get it out in the title sequence. Oh, this is not fun. Right.
Hiccups.
Here we go.
Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win. That was absolutely brilliant. No, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh no, Max, that was so not right. Goes Leclerc, through goes
Hamilton.
Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
Bottas took out both their components.
And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
Hello.
Hi.
Wow.
I now spend my what? Sorry, go again.
That was a really weird echo there. I don't know. It was probably just mine, but it just went.
Yeah, I think it was your end. There was no problem on my end. But should we start this again? Okay, starting again. Great. Hi. How are you?
Is that your rewind sound?
That was my rewind. Yeah, I have to do the face as well.
Well, no, so no one understands that rewind sound anymore because it's such a millennial thing.
This is true. This is true.
Or pre-millennial.
I saw something on.
Are you millennial officially, or are you too old?
I don't know. I'm Gen X, aren't I?
Oh, you're the forgotten generation or whatever.
Yeah.
No one cares about you.
Yeah, I'm 82, so I mean, as in born in 82.
You have to see you looking good for 82.
My dad's 82. Genuinely. But anyway, there we go. Yeah. So
I didn't realize your dad was that old.
Yes, he is. Yeah, 1942 he was born. And his social security number is no.
Well, you've shown someone a birth certificate, so we're all good.
That's fine. I didn't show the whole thing. I didn't show the top of it. I now spend my entire life trying to stop a child burping and hiccuping, and then I've had the hiccups and burps so much the last week. It's been insane.
You need to go upside down. Don't put your baby upside down, but you need to go upside down.
Oh, I put him upside down.
Just
all the time. It's true what you say though. You're like, you care. Well, it's not so much you care. You are much less careful with your own children than you are with other people's. other people, like they hold.
I
the
don't
baby
know
like
what
it's
you're
a pot.
implying here, Tom, but I don't know if this should be on public domain.
So-
But okay.
What was it? Where was it? We went a few months back when you were. we went to a swimming pool and you were throwing your child.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Literally hurling him across the swimming pool.
He is 7, and he loves being. Actually, all my kids love being thrown in the air. I was throwing Aubrey and Rhea onto the beanbag the other day, and they were like, "My turn, my turn." I just kept being thrown from literally about 5 foot high onto a massive beanbag. And they loved
Cool.
it.
Given that he's not been 3 weeks old yet, that's
Don't be doing that to him.
No.
Don't be
But I
doing
just
that
mean
to him.
just basically holding him not so much upside down, but in certain positions to help him burp and stuff like. If that's someone else's kid, I'd just be like, bomb.
I know. It's funny when you suddenly get kids, you can just deal with stuff. Like we all know that I can never do with poo. Let's call it poo.
Yeah.
And then I had kids and it was fine. Except was it Monday? Can't remember when it was. Oh no, Sunday. I was left at home alone with the kids. Laura went out for a bit of afternoon tea. It was very nice for her. And I got left with 3 kids. And the littlest one decided to miss the toilet, shall we say. Oh, me cleaning that up. And I was doing my really loud retching noises, which I can't control. Which you remember them.
I still remember the video that Laura sent me shortly after Killian was born of so this is probably your first time dealing with Punami, and you had him sitting in your sink in Dorney with the spray thing, spraying him going.
Yeah, well, Rhea had a similar experience of a Punami on the floor, and then I was sat there cleaning it, and Rhea was just like, "Daddy, clean it up. Daddy, are you okay? Daddy, are you okay? Daddy, what's that sound?" I was like, "Don't worry about it."
But just to get this,
the irony being, I can't even make that sound now. I have no idea how to make that sound.
Well, to get it slightly back onto Formula One, still talking about infants emitting substances, but it does get slightly back to F1. I got up at obviously 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the Japanese Grand Prix. Get him all ready, sit him down there with me. Wife's still in bed asleep because she was doing the night shift. She was looking after him if he woke up, and I was getting some sleep. So I got up for the Grand Prix, took him downstairs so she could sleep. And getting everything ready, got the coffee ready, everything ready to go. About 20 minutes before the start of the race, and then he starts smiling. And the problem is when he starts smiling, that means he's about to vom. And I reached for the muslin.
All the stuff is upstairs. Oh no, you actually had stuff.
I reached for the muslin cloth, grabbed it just in time for a white volcano of milk to fly out everywhere. I had to change everything on him and everything on me except my socks. Even my pants were not saved the ignominy of the milk volcano. And this was not long before lights out. And then I just finished changing him when Mum came up to watch the race with me. And I was just like, take him. I need to make another coffee because I don't like milk in my coffee. Anyway.
So I woke up and watched the race up until a certain point, and then that certain point I stopped watching the race and fell back to sleep and woke up just as the winner passed the finishing line.
So are you saying you haven't seen some of the race?
No, so then that night, was it that night? Yeah, Sunday night, once Laura had come back and I dealt with Punami, I sat down and watched it before I went to bed. So I have seen the whole race.
Okay. Well, Emily hasn't watched the race yet, and she's a Max Verstappen fan.
No.
Even she's bored of it.
Yeah, but hang on. Yeah, the thing is, it's just like, actually, if you're a Max Verstappen fan, you don't actually see Max Verstappen in the race. You see him at the beginning and you see him at the end.
Yeah.
No idea what he's doing through the whole rest of the race.
You saw him overtake a couple of cars at one point when he was back in the pack after a pit stop when Leclerc led for like 4 laps. Was it Leclerc led?
No, Sainz.
No, Sainz.
Yeah.
Sainz. Yeah, no, Leclerc led in the last race, didn't he?
So I haven't done a race review, and neither has Tom.
No, I was going to do it. I thought we were podcasting at 2, even though it clearly said 1 on our WhatsApp. So I walked into the office. Well, I was about to come to the office at 1 o'clock to do my race review, and then Carl was like, "I'm on." So,
and I just haven't had the time or energy. My wife is on her final exam tomorrow for her course to become a public health nurse. So she's been cramming. So I have been the main caregiver, house cleaner, and everything else. So I just haven't had time to even think which way's up. And as well as sorting out a load of other projects. But right, so what happened is I woke up, I watched the beginning of the race, and I watched Ricardo smashed into Albon.
Those Williams
And
chassis are cursed, aren't they?
yeah, we'll talk about those and talk about that. We'll talk about actually whether it was Ricardo's fault. It was. And then and then I fell back to sleep. So, and then I had to rewatch it. But yeah, so that was red flag. Which it should have been. And actually the stewards were fine, apart from charging Stroll 100 quid for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, so
Really
I completely missed all that because I was doing other stuff. So I don't know what happened with that, but I just heard about this minuscule.
I think
fine
it was.
for a minor
I don't
offence.
know if it was on the race or whether it was qualifying. I think it might even be
Qualifying, I think.
Yeah, qualifying. He suddenly got 100 quid penalty. I mean, where the hell are they going to get 100 quid from? Jesus Christ.
That's definitely down the sofa money, isn't it?
I mean, that's not even down the sofa. Like down the sofa is where you find decent pound coins. I mean, I don't even know where he's going to find that. I think he'll actually find quite hard to find 100 quid. Like it's not money they're used to dealing with then. Like what do you reckon he buys with 100 quid nowadays? With less than 100 quid. I don't think anyone there buys anything less than 100 quid.
Yeah, but everyone's just done on tap and pay now, isn't it? So they probably.
Do you reckon it was tap and pay?
Yeah, they never actually. They probably walk in there with their card machine, be like, right, come on, cough up. We're using Square, so we get charged 2% on top of it. I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but then they'll use it as a tax write-off anyway.
Exactly.
I wonder it's a fine, anyway, that's very businessy and very taxy, but
not very fun. All I do know is that any fines don't come under the cost cap. That would be interesting if fines came out of the cost cap.
Yeah. A fine should come out. Yeah. And 100 quid is just like pointless.
What they should do is fines should come out of next year's cost cap because they'll say, we can't plan for it. So if you say next year's cost cap, then you have to plan for it.
I get more. My fine, if I speed here in Ireland, I'm sure my fine is more than 100 quid.
I think it's 65 in the UK.
No, I'm sure it's.
Or is it 200 actually? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been caught speeding.
Yeah, aren't you a good boy?
Caught speeding.
Aren't you a good boy? Let's keep it at that. Yeah. And then so they restarted. It was Hulk was in a good place and then went backwards to the back.
Did we see what happened with him?
There was loads of overtake. Huh?
Did we see what happened with Hulkenberg? I saw he just dropped back.
No,
I was watching on F1 TV. They didn't really mention it.
No, they didn't really mention it anyway. I think he just missed a gear. Missed the gear and.
Oh, okay.
They could just had a rubbish start. I don't think there was no contact or anything as far as I'm aware. The Alpines decided to smash into each other a little bit. Let's stop saying Gasly is better than Ocon because he's not, according to the stats.
Well, Ocon's done better at the start of this year, definitely. But last year, Gasly was better than Ocon.
I agree. But this year,
between the two of them, there's not much between them, is it? It's just it's a flip of a coin. They're both average, decent racing drivers,
But that it's the thing. It's like the whole they were talking about the spare seat because obviously both of their contracts are up. It doesn't really matter. But Ocon, I think, has done better this year, and if he keeps going on this trajectory, it is weirdly Gasly that's going out.
I think they'll
only
both,
good as
I think they'll both stay.
I think they will start.
Alpine are not going to be able to convince anyone bigger to come to them with the way they are at the moment. So it's their biggest signing is trying to keep the two drivers they've got.
Yeah, and their biggest signing is trying to keep them happy and with each other.
Yeah, they're professional. They'll be fine.
Yeah,
if they've gone 2 years about it, they'll be fine.
Then what else happened? This is literally trying off the cuff, and I'm trying to think what else happened. Then there was loads of overtaking. There was some mad moments where I had no idea who was in what place because everyone was overtaking everyone, especially during pit stops and things.
Yeah, it's good. I tell you what, it was a
Like,
decent
it was a
race
good
from a strategy point of
It
view.
was a strategy race. It wasn't an interesting race in the sense of crash bang wallop.
Well,
Netflix.
Suzuka is all about
It wasn't
the
a
challenge.
Netflix race. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
Suzuka is about the challenge to the drivers. And
Do you know what was
about
winding me up through at least the first 25 minutes of the race? Is I could not work out where the bridge was. And it was really winding me up because I never saw an image of the bridge, of where they were going under a bridge. And I could, or it looked like they might have been going under a bridge, but because the first 20 minutes, they weren't far enough around the track, or the first 15 minutes, they weren't far enough around the track to do the exciting sort of one car over one way and one car going the other way.
Yeah.
Shots. I just couldn't work it out, which then really wound me up because I couldn't, I don't know, it must have been my slightly crazy brain, but it was really winding me up and I couldn't work out where on the track they were because I didn't know where the bridge was, if that makes sense. And then they have stupid decking names on in this track. The 130R. What the heck? That sounds like a road.
So 130R is when the corner was originally built, it was a 130-degree radius. So that's why it was 130R. That's why it was called that. But since they reprofiled it in the 90s, it's now no longer.
I just presumed it was the name of a Honda motorbike or something being owned by.
No, it's literally 130-degree radius. That's what it means.
For fuck's sakes. But then there's no 180R or something as well. Or one.
There is, yeah. There's another one. Is it 120R or something? I can't remember. There is something else, but yeah, 130R is the famous one because that's used to be an epic corner. Now it's just flat.
Okay.
It's like a Rouge. It's just flat out and try and hold on to it.
So that really started winding me up. Anyway, there was lots of overtakes. The pit strategies obviously got slightly affected by the first crash in the first race and who was on hards, and Hamilton basically strategy just went down the pan. But his strategy that went down the pan actually worked did it work for Sainz? Was he on a similar strategy?
Sainz went long and had a tyre offset at the end, which is what Lando should have done.
Mm-hmm.
But McLaren got spooked by Russell suddenly appearing out of nowhere, even though he had to stop again and had no pace on those hard tyres. They got spooked by him and then boxed him, but then he was ahead of him anyway. So it's like all you've done is guarantee finishing behind Leclerc by boxing. Mm-hmm. Leclerc, Norris had so much life left in those tyres.
Yeah,
he could have bashed out another 15 laps and then come in for mediums and done what Sainz did. And at the end of the race, I still think Sainz probably would have finished on the podium, but Norris would have been a fighting fourth going for third, or third place fighting off Sainz in fourth. Those two would have had a battle and Leclerc would have been a distant fifth. As it was, they just nailed him onto a distant fifth.
Yeah.
With Leclerc slightly further ahead and then Sainz.
And then I do feel sorry for Piastri, but, especially as it was twat face of all people that took him over on the final lap. But actually, Russell's strategy was better. Russell, would you, if you were Ferrari now, would you be looking at Hamilton going,
No, because
I think the right choice? And bearing in mind, would you also be looking at Sainz going, was this such a clever idea?
I think what we saw last year, what we've seen every year from Carlos Sainz in Formula One, no matter what team he's been in, he has purple patches. But there's absolutely no doubt that he is not that. He's a massively hardworking professional driver who will always give everything, and he's immensely talented. But he isn't that final, that pinnacle, that little extra spark that you get with Leclerc, that you get with Hamilton.
I don't know. I think he's getting there. If he carries on this trajectory, I can see him getting there.
But right now, he's in his peak as a racing driver. He's in his peak. He'll get more experience, and like when you get into like the Alonso phase of things, where like Alonso is still a phenomenal racing driver, but he doesn't have that last bit of speed. His race pace is still there, obviously, but his qualifying pace has definitely dropped off. And I think you will see that with Sainz, that he is now in his peak. He's never going to be better than he is now. Whereas I would argue that Hamilton's peak was probably 2020, 2021 time. He wasn't over the hill at 21. In fact, he still did some great racing in 22. And I think he's probably slightly over his peak now. But this is Ferrari trying to just put that extra bit of spark in there. They've seen what Alonso can do at his age and think, well, Hamilton's younger than him, so he's worth the risk just for a couple of years to see if he can bring that first championship. Because let's be honest, if Hamilton was racing for Ferrari would have won a couple of world championships in the last 10 years. They would have done. They wouldn't have won as many as Mercedes, but there's certainly 2018, maybe 2017, maybe 2019. There would have been 1, 2, potentially even 3 championships in there for Ferrari if they'd have had a different driver.
But okay, that still doesn't affect my question, which is if you were Ferrari now, would you be questioning your choices?
I mean, I do think
bearing in mind, and as Jared said, consistent hard work will beat talent. And also, I just want to point out, Jared, no, I didn't know that because I came in via the Netflix generation of Drive to Survive. And well, I used to watch it when I was a kid, and then I watched Drive to Survive, and then Tom just went, "Oh, I want to make a podcast," and I went, "Oh, do you know anyone?" And I went, "Yeah, fine, I'll do it." So I'm the idiot.
Pretty much exactly how it went, to be honest.
I'm the idiot in the room.
You need that,
and I don't know everything, and I am very opinionated on knowing nothing. But
your opinion is equal to my opinion in that opinions of people. Well, yes, but opinions of people who know less are still just as valid as opinions of people who know more. They're still opinions at the end of the day. They're just, in some ways, they're less informed, in some way less educated, but it doesn't mean they're less valid.
But that's
because it's still an opinion.
Learning about this, and still, let's go back to my question.
And you are entitled to your wrong opinion. It's fine.
My opinion at the moment is, if I was Ferrari, I'd be looking at Sainz going, "Oh fuck, I made the wrong decision," and looking at Hamilton going, "Oh fuck, I really made the wrong decision." He's being outwiped by George Russell, who's a prick anyway, but and Hamilton's being out, and Sainz is outwiping Leclerc, or Leclerc, depends on which way you want to call it. So I don't quite. If I was Fred, I'd be thinking, "Fuck."
No, I think I completely get why you think that. But if you look back through the history of Sainz and Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, what you'll see is Leclerc is always good, but does sometimes have off races, whereas Sainz is always decent, but will sometimes have purple patches. He's been ahead of Leclerc. Surely that's
a better bet to have a consistent.
Well, no, because it's where the ceiling is. Leclerc's ceiling is there. Sainz's ceiling is there. If you can get Leclerc performing at his ceiling...
But it's not this year. It's not this year. He hasn't even touched his ceiling.
It's a small sample set. We're talking 3-4 races. 3 races for Sainz, obviously. It's a very difficult sample set. Leclerc had issues with his brakes in the first race. You can look at Sainz missed the second race. And then you're only looking 2 races, really, that he's beaten him.
Okay.
And
I might eat my words, but at this very moment, I'd be a bit like, "Oh fuck."
I don't think Ferrari have made a big mistake in it. I do genuinely think that their lineup in Leclerc and Sainz was the perfect lineup for Ferrari at their current place of development. But I do think, though Leclerc is that absolute gilt-edged talent that you need to win a championship, he's not got all those rough edges polished off. Now, bring in Lewis Hamilton, even if Hamilton is 80% of the driver he used to be, he will still be on a similar level to Leclerc, and he may just help Leclerc polish off those edges. And even if 2 years Hamilton doesn't win a championship for Ferrari, Leclerc might just win 2 or 3 after that. And he may even win them while Hamilton is there. I got mocked on Grid Talk for saying that Leclerc potentially will beat Hamilton in the first year of that contract. And they mocked me saying, "I think you're underestimating Hamilton there." I was like, I'm not sure I am, to be honest. I'm thinking Leclerc is that good.
Okay. I don't know. And it always makes me laugh that the reason we have Dick of the Day was because Leclerc was doing something in Monaco. Anyway, so then there's probably some other stuff that happened, and I'm sorry if I've forgotten it. Then Sargent decides to take a little spin because Sargent, and yet managed to keep it running, which was quite impressive. It looked like it'd been 4x4. It looked like it had been down my country roads down here, but actually they got it done.
That would have been a really good time for a safety car as well. I was quite disappointed when he got back on the track, because that would have been a good time for a safety car. Would have really
I bet he was like,
up.
"I am not fucking losing this now." And he actually finished the race, which was shocking.
Coming last.
Look, he finished the race. That's an improvement.
He was only one lap down as well, looking at this.
That's still an improvement.
But he didn't beat the Alpines though. Still, I mean, the Alpines, they qualified reasonably well, didn't they? Or certainly one of them did. Yeah. And they looked like they had some pace, and they were just going like a stone.
But I just don't get. Was it Stroll talking about the Alpines on his? They're really fast on the straights, which really confused me.
Maybe
I'm sure it was Stroll.
Yeah, I had a radio message, remember that.
But I don't know who he was talking about, and I think weirdly it was the Alpines. So I don't quite know what's going on.
They just got no downforce.
Who the
Alpines?
The Alpines.
Yeah, they probably went for a low downforce setup because they've got no decent downforce anyway. So at least be hard to overtake.
What do you think is Alpine's issue at the moment with everything?
I think they designed a flawed car. There's been so many changes that the team is just listless. It has no direction, and it just needs now people to come in and to stay in. Say, right, you people are in post for minimum 3 years, and then we'll reassess after 3 years, look at where things are going, and then we'll forget these 5-year plans, 100 race plans, all this rubbish. Just like, right, just
let's steady the ship before we
improve operationally and build a good car. That's what they do. Improve operationally, build a good car. And they can work from there. They can start to build up from that. They've got the infrastructure.
I think that's what Haas is trying to do now.
Yeah, improve operation. 100%. Haas are definitely better operationally this year.
Yeah, and Sauber can't do a pit stop to save their lives.
I don't
know what is their pit stops.
I think they just brought everyone. They just brought all the interns in and just saved money. They've just got rid of all the high earners. Taking all the sponsor, all the big buck sponsorship money from Kick and Stake.
And then what's his chops I was watching Sky. It was just like it might be Nancy Davidson actually said it. It was just like, oh yeah, well, they've done a pit stop under 9 seconds. That's brilliant for them. I'm like, sorry.
They said something similar on F1 TV.
2.5s over there.
It was about 5 seconds, wasn't it? And I think they just made a veiled comment about, well, it's still not great, but it's better than it was. But they did comment on it.
And their thing at the moment supposedly is the wheel nuts. They're having to wait for them to cool down slightly before they can take them off. And actually, their pit stops aren't actually shit. It's the issue that they've got is with wheel nuts. Which, when that's quite a major thing of a pit stop, which is going to save you money, save you time. That's weirdly more. The wheel nuts are probably more high priority than a bit of a 0.1 second of downforce.
So there is a wheel. There is a single captive wheel nut in the wheel rim. One nut. Yeah. That is the only thing connecting the car to the wheel, which is the only thing connecting the car to the ground.
Yeah.
It's quite important. There's only 4 of them on the car, and the car will fail without any one of them.
Yeah, but also managing to get them on and off might be a thing to worry about.
Yeah, so because
you're wasting what, 5 times? So if you're making up a 0.2 seconds in down, downdraft or whatever you call, actually you're wasting more time fucking around with these wheel nuts that you need to concentrate on a bit more.
Yeah, if you did, this is what Mercedes say. Like, we always have a go at Mercedes for their pit stops, but we rarely see a problem in a Mercedes pit stop, but we rarely see them getting under 3 seconds. Yeah, and you often think, oh well, he's lost 2 places because of that, or lost a place because of that, and that is frustrating in the heat of battle when you need this this sub 3 second pit stop. Yeah. To make sure that they stay ahead, and then you get a 4.2 second pit stop.
And yes, there is times where things get stuck, or it doesn't work, or someone's forgotten the wrong time. Absolutely, and things happen. But to do it so consistently. So Jared's just saying there that they brought third-party nuts.
Oh wow, that's great. Well done. That's the attention to detail. Well done, Sauber.
Yeah, when you're losing now 5 seconds. On 5 to 6 seconds plus more per, and you're losing 12 15 seconds in a race. Bearing in mind,
race wrecking. It's race wrecking.
That, 15. Imagine it'd be interesting to see where if they had 15 extra seconds, where they would be in the pecking order.
So, if Fernando Alonso, if you add 5 seconds to his race time, 5 seconds, he goes from 6th to 10th or to 9th. Sorry, 6th to 9th.
Yeah,
5 seconds.
So what about 10? Like, and that's 5 seconds. That's for a 1 stop. Let's go for a 2 stop. So 10 seconds. Where is he then?
It's difficult to say because from that point you got Yuki Tsunoda who's a lap down and doesn't have the timing.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, so we've got 12 seconds between Verstappen and Perez.
Okay, so Perez.
I loved how they were saying on the commentary. They were saying, "Oh, at least in this race, we've seen that the Red Bulls are not quite as far as they were." And they're saying that they haven't got that pit stop in hand that they had in previous races. Like, I'm sorry, but Max Verstappen is 20 seconds ahead of the first non-Red Bull car. They do still have that advantage. It's just Sergio Perez is shit. Yeah. When can people just get this? Forget about Perez.
Hang on. So, what? No, hang on. I'm not going to forget about Perez, and I have an answer to that. Perez was what, 12 seconds behind?
Yes.
How much ahead of Sainz was he?
8 seconds.
8 seconds. So he is being, and I believe this might not be a Perez thing, but actually a company orders thing of being smack bang in the middle. He's done it a couple of times now, of being in the correct place because he is protecting Hamilton, protecting Verstappen. If he was on Verstappen's arse, say he was on Verstappen's arse, that is not a good look because if anyone then comes up behind him, there is no buffer gap. There is nothing to stop that from happening to slow the person down behind Verstappen. So my belief, might be wrong, is that actually Perez is being made by lap times and deltas to land in that spot as opposed to being shit.
Okay, if that's the case,
I mean that is a conspiracy theory, and I completely understand that.
Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, why was it in Australia he was unable to pass the Ferraris then and just be stuck in, didn't even make it on the podium?
Because the Ferraris are just better.
No, well, then surely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I don't believe that.
To be honest, I think if he was consistently doing that, it would make more sense. But then you get Australia and you do get shit ones.
Yeah.
I don't think Red Bull are going to change Checo out.
Basically, on the moment, like unless Tsunoda can push himself into consideration, they won't put Lawson straight in. They won't promote Ricciardo the way he's driving.
No.
I don't think they're
Sorry, you have to.
Tsunoda.
If you were to looking at Tsunoda or Ricciardo, you have to go with Tsunoda.
I mean, if I'm Red Bull, I'm bringing Carlos Sainz in.
Are you?
Yeah, 100%. I'm bringing Carlos Sainz in because for that exact reason, he's not that absolute peak level driver, but he's damn good, and he will get those second places that Sergio Perez is unable to get.
Point out that Perez did have a fucked floor in Australia. Sorry. Okay. I mean, the problem is, and I have a feeling, until Mercedes make their move, which will not be until, well, I wouldn't say to the British Grand Prix at this rate.
Yeah, they won't. There'll be nothing. There'll be nothing
even
before
to the summer break.
I don't think there'll be anything from Mercedes until the summer break.
Until they make their move, no one is making their move. Because I think once they make their move on who's next, then I think we can then everyone else starts moving into places.
I think Red Bull will, for the reason that Red Bull
make a move before summer break.
I think Red Bull will potentially make a move before Mercedes do. And the reason is if they decide that Perez is absolutely not the driver for them, if they make that decision, they need to make the replacement early when they've got the full choice available to them. If they then wait and then decide in November, all of a sudden your only options are Yuki Tsunoda. And if you don't want to bring Yuki Tsunoda back up at the moment, you've got
potentially. But it works the other way, Tom. It works the other way.
But right now,
the drivers will not be wanting to look for their chairs. Even Sainz does not really want to be looking for his chair yet. He's in conversations, let's be honest, with everyone. He's in
100%. If Red Bull got offered him a car,
Red Bull, Mercedes, and Sauber.
100%. If the championship and the most dominant car on the grid offers you a seat tomorrow, he's signing that contract. I think Red Bull hold the
No,
key to
I
this.
don't think he is.
Just the reason is if they decide they want to get rid of Perez, then they need to have the full choice available to them. And if they wait for Mercedes to decide who they want, they're going to get the second best driver in that. They want to get the best possible driver in that position because no one's as good as Max. So that no one's going to bother Max. So they want to get the best possible driver in there. And if they wait and wait, then they're going to miss out on Sainz. They're going to miss out on Alonso. They're going to miss out on potentially some other drivers that may be available. So I think
I don't think that you want to be. I don't think that Red Bull. I wouldn't want to go into Red Bull. Not because I don't want to race winning car. Sorry, but there is. I would never want to go into Red Bull because you're not going to be in a race winning car. Let's be honest. You are in the second race winning car. You're not going to be. You're going to go up against Max and be the second driver to Max. You have to deal with Christian fucking everything in sight Horner. You're going to have to do. You might not even have Adrian Newey there. If Adrian Newey vanishes. Yeah, but okay, you're saying that. But the rumors are floating around. And if those rumors are true, Newey goes, you don't have a race winning car.
It still will though until 2026 minimum. You'll have.
But that's only next year, Tom. Oh, 2 years. Sorry.
Yeah, but even so, no, like they're not going to. Adrian Newey is not the foundation that holds that team together. He did. Mm-hmm. So Adrian Newey is in charge of the overall technical side of things, but the amount of people that are working for him, basically, he just designs and builds the suspension, and then looks at what everyone else does and goes, "Yeah, that's all he does." The suspension. He doesn't do anything else on that car anymore. So he's not the linchpin that holds that thing together. He is. He
is the technical director or whatever.
Yeah, he will have a say on everything and have sign off on stuff. But he's not the person.
He's the one doing a lot of the aerodynamics as well. He's not just doing springs.
But that's the only thing that he designs himself. Now.
Yeah, but then
because the suspension is now an incredibly important aerodynamic part of the car because of the way it controls the ride height, and that massively affects aerodynamics. It is a huge part of the car. It's not just springs and bolts.
That's saying that I don't make films, or I don't work in or being being at the head of a producer doesn't make a film or a director doesn't make a film. Well, they do, but actually everyone else works for them, but they are the head dog of that, and they say, "Oh no, I don't like that. That doesn't work. Let's try this."
Yes, no, I get that. But what I'm saying is, Red Bull aren't going to forget how to make a decent car just because Adrian Newey isn't there.
No, but remembering also, you've got Adrian Newey. That having Adrian Newey as your boss is like, okay, that's amazing. That's that. Not ego. That's the wrong word. Maybe it's ego. That morale of Adrian Newey being the boss.
I think the narrative that Adrian Newey is this absolute deity of aerodynamics suits Red Bull because they've got so many people involved in that team that can do the job, that if they have people thinking that Adrian Newey is the most important part of this, and Adrian's getting on a bit now.
Oh, he is.
If someone comes and offers him ridiculous money to go somewhere else, Red Bull will probably be like, if they're going to get some kind of severance pay from it, they're going to be like, crack on, because Adrian's not going to be around for many more years anyway. He's going to be being replaced at some point anyway. We've got all these people in place. We've got a succession plan because we're a sensible business. And then he'll just go for ridiculous money, and then they've already got the succession plan in place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't surprise me at all if Red Bull would welcome an approach from another team, because then they can basically just make a shit ton of money. And then, Adrian's going, but he's not the be-all and end-all of that team, I don't believe. Obviously his fundamental principles that he's brought to that team, he is a massive, massive part of the success of that team. And it wouldn't surprise me if it was him and
he is looking old, bless him. Now.
Yeah, well, he is in his 70s, and he's still working, full-time, demanding job, flying around the world. So, yes, it's going to take its toll. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was him and Horner that are trying to buy out the Mateschitz family and try and take over the entire company.
Oh, Horner's definitely buying out.
Oh, yeah, he's trying. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Newey was involved in that, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't know.
He tried to do that with Williams way back when.
I don't know how close Newey and Horner are.
I don't know anymore. I mean, I know they were fairly close at one time, but I don't know about now.
Yeah. And obviously they've got a long working relationship and all that,
Mm.
but I do wonder. And I just, anyway, I'm just trying to think of
Sorry,
what
just see
else
Jared's
happened in
comment. I'm assuming this is referring to Red Bull. They'd miss out on Ocon. I'm assuming that's
Oh,
the joke.
dear. Oh, where's Ocon going? The
I mean,
fucking
Ocon's got a Mercedes
Actually-
link. Ocon could end up in that Mercedes. It's possible. I
Well,
doubt
it's
it. but-
Toto's. Yeah, Toto was his manager, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No, I don't have an issue with Ocon. I don't think he's the worst driver on the track. He's really true. He's very middle. I mean, it could be worse. They could have they miss out on Sargent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think there's lots of options there in the market anyway. I think there's a lot of
But I
drivers.
still think
are-
Ferrari will move. Sorry, Mercedes will move first.
They may do. I think if Red Bull decide they don't want Perez, then they will have to move first because they've got the most attractive seat. And if that seat is available, known to be available, then Carlos
I don't
Sainz.
understand how that is the most attractive seat. It is the cursed seat.
Because drivers who have any aspiration of winning a world championship believe they are the best driver who ever walked the earth. They have to do that, or they never get to where they are.
So don't go into a second seat.
But it's not a second seat; it's an equal seat, but just no one's as good as Max. But
so then that proves your point wrong.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm saying nobody is good as Max, right? But if Charles Leclerc was offered a Red Bull seat and he took it, he would think, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to beat Max because I'm better than him. If Esteban Ocon went into that seat, he would think, I'm better than Max, so I'm going to beat him. Yeah, Sargent may not because he's massively bruised at the moment. But most drivers on the F1 grid think that if they were in the seat with Max Verstappen, they would at least give him a run for his money and would beat him. They have to, otherwise they would never be on the grid in the first place.
See, I have a different mentality to you of right, okay, Max is a very good driver, no problem. But I'm just as good a driver as him. So I'm going to go into a Merc, get that Merc car perfect, because I know they're a race-winning team. They've been multiple world champions. Red Bull's only done it 3 times in recent history. When I say recent, post-Seb history. Merc have done it 7 times, 6 times. Well, I don't know what the official count.
They've won the championship 8 times.
Merc have won it 8 times.
Yeah.
So
14 to 22.
Yeah, okay.
Or 21.
So they're a racing team. I would want to go into that Merc. See, if I had any seat on that, if I could pick any seat, I'd go into the Merc track. Fuck George out of his own house, and race George, because George is hungry. He's actually a good driver. I know I take the piss out of him, and he's got an ego to sell it. Do you know what I mean? But I would want to be in that car to beat Verstappen. I am never going to beat Verstappen in an equal car, because it's never going to be equal. I can make Merc equal, but I can never make the Red Bull equal.
But as we've said so many times, the car has 80% of the performance, sometimes more, sometimes less, but depending on conditions.
Yeah.
If you've got a vehicle that's 10% down on performance than your rival, you're not going to be in the same postcode as them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Sergio Perez looks like a decent race driver half the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jared, I know you like him, but that again, he's a decent driver, but that's it. He's a decent driver. Yeah, he's nothing special. Yeah, exactly. He's in the same ballpark as Sonoda and Sargent and Joe. That's a bit harsh.
Do you know what? I am liking Sonoda more and more. As a person, I think he's a little jumped up prick, but as a driver, he's still a jumped up prick. But
he was in my top 10 drivers last year.
Actually, he's actually coming on and he's maturing, and I can sort of see his driving style is maturing.
Yeah. The first 2 seasons in F1, he was in the bottom 3 for performers, but still managed to keep his seat. And then last year, he was in the top 10. He was 10th for me in the drivers.
Yeah.
Because performances were really strong.
And I think they still are. He's wiping the floor of Danny Rick. Absolutely wiping that floor. And I don't think it's looking great on Horner. I think it's another thing that Horner's just fucked up putting Danny Rick back. Danny Rick should have left and fucked off. He never had it back. He never got it back.
No, he's not had a decent performance in a long time. His last good race was Italy 21. But
Was that when he did a shoey in the Merc?
yeah, that's when he won.
Yeah.
He
But
won. He's had a
um,
couple of decent races, but he's not anywhere near the driver he used to be. And really, since this whole say 2021, he struggled, but this new breed of car just doesn't suit him at all.
yeah. I don't think, but I think, without being rude, Danny Rick has lost the love of racing, but actually enjoys the love of the showmanship. He should go into NASCAR. And no, Gerard, I can see what Tom's reading. No. Who did I say was shit sergeant?
No, I was just reading. Jared has literally said that that Ricardo should go into NASCAR.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't read that one. I just read the last one, which was I'm probably asking him for official retraction on comparing any driver to Sargent. No, sorry. Sargent's not the worst driver in the world. And there has been many worse drivers in that seat, let alone in the track, than him. Let's go with Mazepin. Let's go with Latifi. You know, there has been a lot more worse drivers. Let's go with De Vries. You're exactly right. So
the standards are so high now for the race drivers. The standards are just so high. It's an impossible one to reach for some people. Now, Logan Sargent showed a lot of potential, and he showed that he could mix it. Like he was very equal to Piastri in the same machinery. It was only really in F3. It was only someone taking him out of the last race that meant he missed out on the championship. I mean, I think Piastri probably would have won anyway, but it would have been a very close second place. In the end, he finished third, and he's run Piastri that close. He had a decent debut campaign in F2. He ran out of money. That's why he didn't step up at the same time as Piastri, because he ran out of sponsorship. It looked like he was going out into sports cars, and then he managed to get some backing, and then he got in with Williams. Then Williams started funding him, and that's how he got into F1. But without the Williams funding, he's not making it to F1.
No.
He's another one of those good drivers who's able to make a career out of racing in other formulas. Like they're able to become professional racing drivers.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Gerard. He is the worst on the current F1, but someone is always going to be the worst of the current F1.
If he goes, then it's Guan Yu Zhou.
Yeah, it's either Zhou.
When Zhou goes, then it's probably Lance Stroll.
Yeah. You know, and it is, do you know what? There's always going to be someone that is the worst on the current grid. But that does not mean he's the worst driver ever.
I've got to know.
I think he's also quite likable as a person. You don't want to hate him. You don't hate Sargent as a racing driver. You don't think he's a dick. You don't think he's, you know,
and to be honest, I'm the same with Perez. I know I bag on him saying he's shit. I'm saying like in comparison to Max Verstappen, he's not good enough.
Yeah,
like Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is better than Ayrton Senna as a racing driver, and Ayrton Senna for me will be the greatest ever. But when it comes to everything else that's involved, Logan Sargent is better than some world champions of Formula One. He's better than James Hunt. He's more disciplined than James Hunt. That's for certain.
Perez had the issue of I don't know what happened in let's call it Aston Martin, the pink Mercedes Racing Point or whatever it is, and I never knew why they didn't take him on, and they kept keep him on. Was that it? Even though he's well funded, then he got into Red Bull, which is a poison chalice. I would love to see Perez in, possibly ironically, the Aston Martin. I'd like to see him in the Audi when it comes out.
He spent most of his career racing average cars and doing okay in them, and you know, sniping the odd podium because he was good with tire change. You know, he's good with tires, and yeah, he was kind of similar level to Esteban Ocon. Excuse me, when they were teammates. He looked decent in his early Sauber career when he was a Ferrari junior driver, but he's never had that X factor. That's why when he did get his chance with McLaren, he blew it. Probably a little too young, probably the wrong time for him to go into that car. And then it took him a while to get back to a big car, and he only got the nod for Red Bull because of circumstance. But and just Gasly and Albon just not being up to it, and then he was available and a race winner by that time due to a little bit of good fortune in Sakir. But
and I think that's the problem is that why Yuki is not going to make it to Red Bull is because they've been burnt too many times bringing people over from AlphaTauri over to Red Bull. And it should be copy, paste, click over, same thing. But they are different companies, and I think people forget that. I think they even themselves forget that. Do you know what I mean? They are different companies, they're different philosophies, they're different styles, they're different machines, full stop. And it's not a copy and paste for car, and it's certainly not copy and paste driver. Anyway, I'm trying to finish my race review because I can't remember anything. But and then Max won.
Right. I think we should move on to driver of the day because we're rapidly running out of time here. Partially due to me being late, but
partially because I need to go. Driver of the day.
I haven't played that for a while.
Are you going to play it?
Played it.
I didn't hear it.
Did you not?
There we go. Didn't hear it.
You're on a massive time delay because I only pressed it once.
Anyway, no, I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it at all?
No.
Driver of the day.
Oh, there I did.
Okay, there we go.
Jar, did you hear it?
Yes, if you didn't hear that jingle, put something in the comments. Thank you. So
you should have heard it twice now.
Yeah.
And I've only heard it once. Anyway. I don't know. Yeah, what the fuck? I drive of the day. Probably Signs. There we go. You didn't press it properly.
I pressed it ages ago. You've got some massive time delay on your...
No! What? Gerard said he didn't hear it.
Oh, that's strange.
So it's you. So
well, no, because if you heard... Did you hear the title sequence?
Yes.
Oh, just once he heard it. Just once he heard it, apparently. Okay.
Yeah, same.
Well, I'll definitely play this twice. Okay. Anyway, right. This is going really, really well.
I still haven't got my driver of the day. Probably Signs, because I've got no one else, really. Who was the actual real official driver of the day?
I think Grid Talk gave it to Leclerc, which is a good shout.
Oh, yeah, people gave it to Leclerc. I don't get that, really.
Yeah.
You started further back in the grid where you should have started, and you ended up where you should have.
Yeah, it was a good strategy, and he raced it well, but I think Sainz raced better.
Why is my mother-in-law coming over?
Who knows? Quick, let's do. I don't know if you're driving today. I'm going to go. I'm just going with Max Verstappen. He just dominated. Solid. Right, okay. Dick of the day.
You didn't see him. Danny Rick.
Dick of the day.
Rick of the day.
Rick. Daniel Rick. Is that who you're going with?
Yeah. Yeah. We never talked about it, but I think we both agree. Rick,
it was his fault. He just didn't leave enough space. It was a first lap incident. I don't think he got a penalty for it in the end.
No, he didn't.
No, it's fine. I don't think he's a dick because of it. It's just one of those things.
I still think it was a dick move as opposed to what other dick moves was there?
I don't know.
Alcon's engineer for going drive faster when he had just done his personal best.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny.
I was like, that's not quite how it works, and he was driving at his best.
Okay, I'm gonna go dick of the day. My son for puking on me right before we started.
Your son can't be a dick.
Love him to pieces. Would never change him. He's changed my life. I would never change him.
Right. There we go.
Sorted. My son's a dick. That's what I've taken from this episode.
Where are we next time? We are... Where
China.
are we in the world?
We're in China.
That's another... I have no idea where I'm watching this race. We've got sprint races.
Yeah, it's got a sprint as well.
Well, I'm watching the sprint while I am driving to the airport. So I'll be watching the sprint in the car and listening to it. And then I am... What else am I doing? I am... Oh, yeah. And then I'll be in America for the actual race, which will be in the middle of my night, be middle of Saturday night. So I'll watch it later on Sunday. So I've got no idea.
Okay.
So hopefully, and then I'll be in America, but I'll try and do a podcast with you probably one of your late evenings.
Fantastic. Okay, we will discuss that, and we will do our do our very best to bring an episode for you. Thank you very much for this incredibly shambolic episode. Thank you to those in the comments and everyone for listening. Really appreciate all the love we get from you. So speak to you soon.
Anyway, bye.
My son's not a dick. I love him.
Neither is mine.
Love your son as well.
Oh, my wife's ringing. Bye.